Hello. So over the last, I think 2 months, I've made an effort to keep all of my junk mail and various other things to make some kind of like junk themed series. So I can't tell you this is definitely going to be a regular thing. It will be a semi-regular thing whenever I come up with something to use the junk that I've been saving. So this prescription bag is one of the things I have saved, and I have filled it with, this is probably where I don't really want you to know just how bad my eyesight is, but I've been saving my little contact lens foil covers. So I've got a few in here now. I might use all of them. I might use all of it, I might not. And this has kind of been a progression of what I want to do with these. So I'm going to show you what I started. So my idea was basically to start with some embossing. So embossing the little foil lids. And then I kind of whittled that down. Most of my embossing folders, apart from this one, which I recently got from a charity shop, this one is a Gemini, and I can't quite, with all the combinations of the mats, I can't quite get this to work through my Sizzix. It's either too loose or way too tight. So I found some other ones. So I then found these two, and this again, these are both again actually from charity shops, and they are snowflakes, which I thought would be great for a Christmas journal or something like that. So I'm going to use those two. And then I found this Sizzix one, but digging out all my embossing folders, I found that one. So I'm going to use this one too. And I've got a couple of ideas of where I want to go with these. So what I'm going to do is bring in my Sizzix. So it's quite large, as you know. I need to get rid of that piece and grab my mats, which are in a bit of a sorry state. I do have a new set, but I'm just keep using these. Keep using the old ones. They're in a pretty bad way, but that's okay. Right, so I'm going to start with doing some numbers. So I'm just going to open my tray, and I want the embossing at the top, so I need to make sure I've got this the right way round. So I'm going to put the numbers, I'm going to put them in place. I might be able to get 3 in one run if I'm lucky. So let's do 48, and let's do 35. And to be honest, if I don't use these whole, I think that's still great, because we're still using up this this scrap, this junk that would have been probably have binned, and I'm now going to regret the thousands probably that I have recycled rather than used. So let's put that through, and that, right. Let's see how they look. How cool. I love them. I love them. Love them, love them. Right, so I'm going to do those same numbers again. Okay, right, so again, we have those numbers twice, each one, which is exactly what I want. So I'm going to put those over there. Now let's have a go at a couple of the snowflakes, and I want to have a little look at which ones would work best. I think it's going to be these ones. So I'm going to take a couple of these. So I'm going to try for that snowflake, and that's the broken one again. Let's try these. Love them, I do, quite love them. And let's just do 2 last ones with the same again. So that snowflake and that snowflake. And there we go. Right, so I'm just going to get rid of the scissors. So here we have our little pairs. I've got those two, we've got those two. They're not perfect, they're not going to be a perfect match, but I'm perfectly okay with that. Now, I started to make some charms or dangles using this full size. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs. I'm going to cut 5 circles. And I'm going to take my little punch, and it's a bit fiddly just because it's already embossed, but we needed to emboss it, so we know exactly where to cut. And can you see I've lined that up, and I'm going to cut that. And this is probably quite good for your punches. You might have a little bit of leftover that you have to cut off, but this is probably quite good for your punches actually, because it is foil. My contact lenses are, so hopefully yours, you know, if you don't wear contact lenses, I'm sure you would know somebody that does, and they can probably help you out. I think those would be, you know, they'd still be able to use those in a journal somewhere, like behind a little tag or something like that. So I'm keeping those pieces. Right, again, I might have a few little tatty bits that I just need to trim. If you don't wear contact lenses, the dailies, I have to. I can't wear the permanent. I have to use dailies, but if you don't know, and if you don't wear lenses, then most of us know somebody that does. So if you just ask them to hang on to their rubbish for you, I'm sure they will oblige. So I'm going to glue, and I know you can use various other pieces of foil for this, but this is really something that would have ended up being binned. And now we've saved it and we're using it for something, which I think is great. You know, my whole plan was to just do something with my junk, even if it's bit by bit, until I eventually build up some kind of journal. But yeah. So there we go. We now have our little number. I'll do the rest of these. So now we've got the 4 of them. I'm going to start, I've got a little sponge here, and I'm going to grab my alcohol inks, and I'm just going to go, that's the same blue I used before. What have we got here? Let's try Glacier. So what I'm going to do is use my little sponge. This is not the right sponge to use, you know, but it's what I've got, so it's what I'm using. I'm just going to dab some onto there, like that. Turn it over. Same again on the other side, like that. And then I think I'm going to go for, this one is Monsoon. And I know, I've got it over my fingers. Worse things could happen than having a little bit of ink on my fingers. I'm not worried. If you are worried, use gloves. Please do, use gloves. There we go. Right, so I have got a little bit of nail issue. You know, it's been a while since I've had inked nails, so it was about time. It was about time. And this does not take long, this ink, to dry on these at all. So there we go. Obviously they're not quite finished yet. There's still things we can do to those. Now these, I thought we'd try something a little bit different. Okay, so for these I'm going to use my foundry wax. And what colours do we have here? I don't think I want to use the silver because that is already silver. I think I'm going to use the mind and the statue. So I'm going to give these a shake. Put a splodge straight on to my... There we go. So let's dry that. Turn that over. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Put a splodge on there and then use my brush to brush it about. You obviously can't work this stuff too much. You need to kind of do it fairly quickly and then just leave it. And then I'm going to dry that side. So once this is dry, it is permanent. I'm going to do this side again actually because I didn't do a very good job of it. And you can add more over the top. I think I didn't give that a good enough shake the first time. Right. Now this one, I'm going to use the mind. So I'm just going to give that one last shake. Ah, there we go. I can hear the ball going now. Couldn't hear it on the other one. So I obviously did not shake that quite enough. Go in with my colour. Move that around fairly quickly with my brush. And I'm working on a hot board, which is not helping. Now, I'm not worried about this looking perfect because I'm going to be working on these a bit more anyway. Let's just dry that. If you decide to give them another shake, please put the lid on. Please put the lid back on. I've made a fatal error. Have rather a lot of foundry wax everywhere now. Right, and I'm just going to dry that one more time. Right, just going to move that over here a little bit where it's a bit cooler on my board and do the other side. Okay, so I'm going to bring back this one, grab my emery board, I'm just going to pick that up and I'm just going to rub, kind of go round actually in a little round motion. And the other side. And then do the same to the 48. So you get something a bit like that. And I'm also going to give these a little sand as well. And these ones are just the alcohol ink. And I'm keeping the file flat so it takes off the top and not any of the base. So by keeping the file flat, you take the colour off those kind of embossed edges, obviously, and you get that silver show through, which gives it a nice little look. So just do the same on this one. So we get something a bit like that. You can obviously take it back as far as you like. I've just taken a little bit back there. And what I want to do is work on these a little bit more with my crayons. So I've got my black crayon. I'm not a big crayon user, so I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work. I mean, maybe it's better. So I'm just using my crayon, rubbing it in, going around those edges actually as well. And you know, obviously these are water soluble, so you can go in with your baby wipe to remove anything if you're not happy. I think I'm going to go around the edges a little bit with the snowflakes. Right, I've got my tiny little hole punch here, so I don't think there's much, you know, much more I want to do to these. I'm just going to put a little hole in them, and it is a tiny hole, and obviously we can see they're not perfectly lined up, but if we grab some garment pins, put those on, we have some kind of cool dangles made from absolute junk, literally made with contact lens, with a contact lens packet. So ask your friends to save you all of their contact lens packaging, and I hope to come back with more from my bag of junk at some point. It's just a case of waiting until I have some kind of idea of what to do with them. I hope it's given you some ideas. I mean, you can see, I'll show you my trial one. This one is one that I used the whole lid for that one, and I put an eyelet in it. So I think that would be absolutely perfect with the numbers. If you got some numbers, made some of those, that would work really well. But for now, that is my little video. So I hope you found that useful. I will see you all again really soon. Bye.